Hey everyone! I know what you're thinking. Why is a guy who normally does this suddenly so sexy with big boobs? Because in the world of Walking Dead, it's the women who are in charge. Right, Tara, Carol, Michonne, Alpha? Sorry, Carol and Alpha. I'm not shaving my head.
Wrong answer.
Being a video that tells what was taken from the comics, nothing in here should be new. But there might be some spoilers. So if you're reading the comics and you're not up to the Whisperers arc, there might be some spoilers. Consider yourself warned. This week's episode follows two stories. First is Ezekiel, who is on a side mission with his main squeeze. The other is everything that happened at the gates of the hilltop, starting with Ezekiel's group. He's going on a royal quest to find the lost artifact, something that can save his fare, or at least make it not as lame. The storyline starts with the flashback of Ben and Jerry telling His Highness and Carol that Nabila is preggo and he's going to be a daddy.
We're preggo. Preggers?
Jesus and Tara ride up with the community charter and are told that she's leaving Alexandria. In the present, Ezekiel is looking at the charter again, with most of the group heading back to the kingdom. He takes a small party out to get something for the upcoming fair. They make their way to the movie theater, where Ezekiel reveals this trip was to get a projector bulb. They have a well thought out plan on how to clear out the walkers, get in, and grab the bulb. But in the world of Walking Dead, when does a plan ever work out as intended? Unless having near-dead batteries and getting trapped in the theater was part of their plan, then in that case...
I love it when a plan comes together.
Jerry gets the bulb, Jerry drops the bulb, Ezekiel decides to leave, then Ezekiel decides to stay and find it.
Come on.
They eventually do find the bulb, retrieve it, and make it out with no losses. That night, they turn on the projector as the charter is placed in a new frame. The setup for the fair is nearly complete. Okay, so this sequence was created entirely for AMC. There were no side missions before the fair. During this time, the only mention of Ezekiel in the comics is when he's out with some others from Kingdom, killing walkers, and Rick's group comes across them. He's on his way to the coast to wait for a fishing crew led by Pete and Michonne. Ezekiel goes along with them, and things are a bit awkward between the two. In the comics, Carol died a long time ago, and it's Michonne who had a relationship with Ezekiel. Sometime after All Out War, though, she just up and leaves with no explanation. We don't need to get much into this, but the events here set up parts of the story later on in the comics, including the next story arc. Something to comment, though. Why would AMC go through the trouble of showing Jerry telling Ezekiel he's going to be a dad unless they were trying to build up something? Surely they could have just showed him with the baby and said, "This is our new kid."
Don't call me Shirley.
I would like to point out that one of those killed by the Whisperers was a pregnant Rosita, and Eugene was going to be a new daddy. Since Rosita is in Hilltop, it's unlikely she's going to be abducted by Alpha, unless she goes to the fair and wasn't told anything about what happened at the gate. So don't count on Jerry's happiness lasting too long. Going to the main story of this week's episode, things pick up where the last episode left off. Alpha is outside with her group and demands her daughter back.
Where's my daughter?
Daryl demands they leave. When they don't move, he goes outside to confront her. He tells her they won't let him have Lydia and have enough firepower to light them up.
We got enough firepower to light you up.
When he spots a baby amongst the Whisperers, Alpha then instructs her followers to bring Luke and Alden up and offers them as a trade. 2 for 1. Sounds fair, right?
It's a good trade, which is why you're gonna take it.
Daryl heads back inside to get Lydia, only to find out she's missing from her cell. And Henry is nowhere to be found. I know. Shocker. During their search, the baby in the herd starts crying, drawing the approaching herd of walkers to them. Luke uses his 2 hands to signal to Connie, who runs out from hiding to rescue the tiny tot from trouble.
Hey, 2 hands, Luke.
Daryl, with Earl and Tammy, go out to help while Enid and Addie go to Henry's hideaway. Enid finds Henry and tells him about Luke and Alden and pleads for them to come back. Lydia comes out and says it's okay, but it's time for her to leave. She gives Henry an awkward kiss goodbye and goes back to the hilltop to be reunited with her group.
Reunited and it feels so good.
Back in the hilltop, Daryl leads her out and makes a trade. Enid gives Alden a kiss, Magna gives Luke a hug, and Alpha gives Lydia a love tap. Later, Henry tells Daryl that what they did isn't right, but Daryl reminds him that they had to, and they just have to live with it.
You live with it.
In Hilltop, Magna's group drinks. Enid and Alan get it on.
Doing someone that you used to do.
Tammy and Earl take care of their new baby, and Henry leaves his bed. Outside, Addie hands Daryl a note from Henry, where he says he left to find Lydia. Nearby, Connie sits on the table and stops Daryl, writing him a note claiming she wants to tag along. You know, given the huge emotional connection she has to the boy she barely knows. He reluctantly agrees and they set off. So this is where the bulk of the comic book source material was used. In the comics, Alpha is waiting at the gates. Maggie goes out to meet her right away. There's no yelling back and forth from the top of the wall.
Our community is more than capable of defending itself.
Alpha asks, "Are you the leader?" And Maggie says she is.
Which one of you leads these people?
Trying to take the peaceful approach. Alpha says she means them no harm and only wants her daughter.
I'm Alpha. I show you my face because we mean you no harm. And we only want one thing from you, my daughter.
She asks if her daughter is still alive and explains they only attacked Maggie's people because they intruded into their lands and compromised their safety. When Maggie says Lydia has not been harmed, Alpha says neither of your men and brings out Ken and Marco. The biggest difference from AMC's version. They both agree to a trade immediately. There's no resistance or threats. Instead of stalling to find Lydia, Maggie just says she needs 10 minutes to gather Lydia and her things up. Another aspect AMC used from the comics was the resistance to letting them take Lydia. Carl is very opposed to this. He argues with Maggie that Lydia doesn't want to go and how bad the Whisperers are to her. During this exchange, Lydia chimes in and says she'll go. She gives Carl a kiss and tells him she misses her people and has to go back.
They're my people. I miss them.
Lydia is brought to the gate where Carl tells Maggie this isn't right. She tells Carl he needs to just let it go. Lydia joins her group where she apologizes to her mom for getting caught. She tells Lydia that she needs to call her Alpha, just like the rest.
You call me Alpha. I call the rest.
The big difference, though, is Lydia does not get slapped. Carl, with the residents of Hilltop, watches the Whisperers take their leave. Sometime later, Carl is arguing with Maggie about sending Lydia back with them. Unlike Daryl, who wanted to keep Lydia there, Maggie is not on his side, saying Carl only spent one day with her and he barely knows her. Fed up with Carl, Maggie leaves to go check in with Ken and Marco, who confessed they were treated very well, but warned Maggie against taking action, saying that while they were blindfolded or in a tent, it sounded like there were thousands of them. That night, Sophia goes back to check in on Carl, only to find his room empty. Carl is left to chase after the Whisperers and try to rescue Lydia. Unlike AMC's version, though, there is no note left behind. It's not until the next day, when he's missed several meals, that Maggie comes to the conclusion that he went out after him. So we're getting close to the opening of the fair and the day that everything falls apart. What are your thoughts on Alpha so far? Do you think AMC is making her out to be a little too wicked? Just wait until you see what she does next. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe. Until next time, keep on whispering. Unless putting near-dead batteries and putting... Damn it. Oops. Going to the main... Oh, sorry. Things pick up where they left. Going to the main... Ugh. So this is where the bulk... That's wrong. Another aspect AMC used